Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. After that big crypto dump, a lot of people following me on X noticed one thing. There was one crypto that did not dump like everything else. Everything else was down 40, 50%, yet React was only down a handful of percent. And it fared very well. And I'm going to explain why that was the case, but I want to show you what they are doing now with React and why I think this is going to be an absolute game changer for all layer twos going forward. Because, and when I say all, it's because React is now taking the React token and their advanced smart contract and pushing it outside of EVM or the Ethereum virtual machine. This is going to take smart contracts that currently right now only are triggered because they're always asleep unless how they are written happens. Whatever they are told to do, when one thing happens, then they do it. It's over. It's one function in a smart contract. Reactive allows any smart contract to work together with the reactive using the reactive token, and whatever fees are incurred are 100% burned. So this is an extremely deflationary token as more companies start to pick up on it and use the tech. And currently I have some base developers looking into seeing if they can use it right now. I'm hoping to break that if that's the case. What's happening is Reactive is now doubling down on their sequencer and changing some things to bring it outside of Ethereum to be used on all these different chains. So I want to put this down below. I want to read this post that they just put out. And, I want you to understand too, there's not a lot of people selling this. And the reason why there's not a ton of buying pressure is because of the exchanges it's on right now. It's not on Coinbase yet. And I say yet because they've already applied for it and all the documentation and work's done. They're just waiting on Coinbase. So it's up to Coinbase, right? And that in and of itself, type one, if you understand, that is an actual amazing event for owners of tokens to own something on another exchange before it gets listed on a major centralized exchange, because there's so much money there that people just dive in. And that's why you haven't seen this price taking off. And I couldn't be happier, because in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, the wallet count has doubled. And I think that more and more people are starting to look at this. More developers are starting to look at it, and you're going to see something really exciting. It's an amazingly decentralized project. So I'll put a link down below to the exchange, the major exchange that lists it. My link, if you don't have an account with them already, you'll get 20% rebate in all your trading fees forever. So that's a pretty cool setup. Thank you so much, Mikel, for the super chat. All right. So, you know what? Do me a favor. Type React down below if you own it and you're studying this and watching the team and what they're doing. So this came out of X, out of Reactive Network's actual account. It says here, Reactive Network beyond EVM. Earlier this year, shortly after Reactive's mainnet launch, we rolled out something called Sequencer. One of the most important parts of our system. It helps Reactive stay fast, reliable, and ready to scale. Reactive works differently than most blockchains. Instead of running on other transactions, or sorry, I apologize. Instead of running on user transactions, it runs on live data, constantly changing, coming in from different blockchains. Sequencer ensures that all data stays accurate and in sync. It also made it much easier for us to grow. We can now introduce new chains to Reactive faster than ever. It says right now, Reactive Network pulls in data from Ethereum, BNB chain, AVAX, Base, Arbitrum, Sonic Labs, Hyperliquid X, and Abstract Chain. Okay, they're pulling in data from all of these. Says we are processing up to 1,000 transactions per second while using less than 3% of the system's full capacity. They go on to say this, and this is where it gets exciting. Now we're building the next version, Sequencer 2.0. This update will help Reactive work with more than just EVM compatible blockchains, which are on the Ethereum network. And it will allow us to support many new types of data. It also means Reactive won't be limited to just our internal team. We're opening things up so builders, developers, and communities can start bringing their own data into Reactive's network and use it to power smarter dApps. This is a big step forward, making Reactive more open, flexible, and even more useful for anyone building with on-chain data. We'll be sharing more soon. Stay tuned. And then it goes in, and I'm sharing it out on X. More on their actual plan or their blog down below. I have gotten really excited about watching React build this network and to be able to offer this layer to sit on top of and work with current smart contracts in Ethereum. Now that they're moving outside of Ethereum, not only will layer twos from Ethereum be able to work with it, but others as well, especially Base. That's going to be taking off like crazy. So, with it being a decentralized project, it's spinning up more nodes as we speak. They're out there looking for companies, start running nodes. As more Ethereum developers are looking at this going, how can we I mean, it's so easy, it's pathetic how they can integrate it to make smart contracts be more adjustable, that they can react to actual real-time events. Super important when it comes to DeFi. Because right now, an Ethereum smart contract is one function, okay? If this happens, then you do this. That's it. It can't change data like, oh, there's a market crashing. Well, yeah, but it said to do this. Like all of these, just last week, let me give you an example. A lot of people had taken their Bitcoin and they borrowed against it so they could get tax-free loans. Type yes or no if you've ever heard of this concept, okay? Wealthy people borrow against their assets. Well, a lot of Ethereum developers have built companies around the idea of, hey, we'll build this process to where you can put your Bitcoin up as collateral and pull a loan against it in stable coins, and it's tax-free event, okay? And people have been doing it like crazy. Well, the problem is there was a margin requirement, right? So let's say you had $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, and your Bitcoin was you wanted to pull out a loan, and they say, okay, well, how much do you want? And you're like, I want 80 grand. Well, at 80 grand, they say, okay, the problem is if there's a 21% dip in Bitcoin, you're now going to be under the amount of collateral, or, the margin amount. And we're going to have what's called a margin call. There are some companies that set it up to where when you go under margin, it just starts pulling from your current Bitcoin that's under that smart contract to pay your monthly payments. There are some that completely wipe you out and they lock it up. This is what happened on Friday. Okay. With a smart contract combined with Reactive's their layer sitting on top of it, it can move to pivot towards events. Hey, there's a market crash going on. There's things being liquidated. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to change the terms and do this, this, and this so that there's not a liquidation event. The point being is that I'm trying to keep it really basic for people, but this is why I invested in this project. I like the decentralization aspect, and I like that the team is out there not hiding. And they're like, here we are. They've been working like crazy. And now, after going to Singapore and watching Vitalik say, we tried to do what you guys did, you accomplished it, we didn't. But it's not that they couldn't have done it. They said, what are we wasting our time for? We'll let the market figure this out and let the companies do this themselves. So Reactive fixed a problem, and that's going to get rewarded. And because of its decentralized nature, I invested in it. I'm in this one for the long haul. I see value in it. So I'm like, well, I'll just tell the world about it. And that's the thing. If you ever decide like, oh, I'll try this out, I highly suggest if you do it, do your research, but also just a little bit. You put a little bit of money into it. You look at it, you learn about it, because right now there ain't anybody wanting to sell at these prices. Matter of fact, I'd be shocked if anyone wanted to sell for anything under a $350 million market cap, which would be pretty much a 10x from here. I would not personally be surprised if that happened in this crypto run. And especially after watching everything melt down on Friday, what, 40, 50%, and Reactive was down, what, 10, maybe 15%. It was doing great. So, and I highly suggest, if you want to learn more about it, follow that React symbol on X. But just so you know, there's another company trying to take some credit and using another token with the same ticker. So just watch out for that. So down below, I put a link to the coin market cap page for the actual token so you don't get confused. All right, with that being said, hopefully you have a great day. The Economic Ninja is out.